What is the impact of AI on startups, organizations in general? You're watching Microsoft Startup AI School, a Microsoft Reactor series of exciting and informative sessions where we introduce you to the basics of Gen AI and show how you can use AI to enhance your creativity, productivity, and efficiency. Hi everyone, I'm Suzanne, a program manager with Microsoft Reactor and your host for Microsoft Startup AI School series. So welcome to our sixth episode of our series, and today's session is an exciting one. But before we start, drop an emoji in the chat to tell us where you're joining us from and if you're already a founder or planning to be one. So if you haven't already seen our previous sessions, I'm going to drop our link here and you can check them out on demand. Let me drop them now. There you go. Right, so today we have a passionate and high energy moderator, Julie, alongside with our trailblazing founders of the most innovative SaaS companies in the Gen AI space. And like the title of today's topic, the glitz, glamour, and the grind of an AI startup, apart from the glitz and glamour, our three founders will also share what keeps them grinding to navigate the rapidly evolving landscape of Gen AI. So a little about Julie. So Julie is an account director with Microsoft ASEAN with a decade of experience in the software and internet industry. And throughout her career, Julie has developed integrated campaigns and spearheaded projects that created an accelerated growth of brands and companies that she has worked for. So, and of course, in her current role, Julie works with many startups and she's super passionate about partnering startups. So when I was working on the programming of for this session, I thought she would be a perfect fit to moderate this panel. So without much delays, let's have Julie up. Hi, Julie.
Thank you. Hi, Suzanne. Thank you so much. Just a wonderful, wonderful introduction. I am super excited and so pumped up to be moderating this session. Thank you.
Yeah, I know.
Thank
who
you
else but you, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Great
I
to have
love
you.
that.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited to learn from our founders.
Yeah, great to have you on our show today. You're super energetic, passionate, and I know you have so much in store for us and our speakers today, and I can't wait. Right, but before we get you to introduce to the rest of the speakers, I'm going to do a quick this or that with you, just so our audience get to know a little about you better. I know this is like off script and you probably didn't expect this, but yeah, I thought it would be fun. So, and those watching, you could also drop and participate by dropping an emoji to tell us your personal favorite. So, Julie, early bird or night owl?
Yes. Early bird
or night owl? Early bird? Is that early bird for you? Are you sure? When we're traveling together.
Night owl. I'm a night owl. Yes, I prefer working in the evening where it's peace and quiet.
Okay, yep. Sunrise or sunset?
Sunset. It's a sign of a brand new day. I mean, the day is ending and you're something to look forward to.
Okay, that's so weird. Oh, thank you. Brand new day means sunrise. Come on. Okay, moving on.
Okay. We're
superhero.
doing
Superhero or supervillain?
Superhero. How about yours? Chocolate or flowers?
Okay, no, next one. Okay, I know this already, but for our speakers and audience, cats or dogs? Julie?
What did you
cats
ask?
or dogs?
Cats
or dogs?
Cats, of course, cats.
Yeah, I know this, but it's for the rest who don't know you well. Yeah, okay. So lastly, burnout or fade away?
Fade away.
Okay, some say it's better to burn out bright. Others say it's wiser to stay gently dimming and fading to the end of time. I personally prefer to leave a short and intense one. But I guess it depends on context, right? And again, this could pretty much tie into today's topic for startups to not burn out, but have a more sustainable growth and be in it for the long haul. So anyway, I hope that was fun.
It's super fun. I did not expect that, but it's super fun. Thank you for getting to know me more. I love it.
Great.
And start our session.
Yes, and I can't wait to hear more as well. So Julie, let's have you take it away.
Absolutely brilliant. Thank you, Sus. All right. Again, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in this part of the world. Again, my name is Julie, and I'm super excited to be facilitating this discussion. Some code of conduct. I know it's very lengthy there, but I'd like to summarize it into 3 things. Number one, respect. Let's respect each other's belief, opinion. Number two, inclusivity. And lastly, participate and engage and make sure that we are all, accepting of others' opinions in this session. That's our code of conduct. And moving on, I hope that's clear. I have some house rules for you. I hope you can keep your phone handy and engage with our live surveys and questions. Connect and network on the chat box. Please feel free to drop your LinkedIn profile. And in the event that you wish to share about this on social media, please make sure to use the hashtag Reactor Startup AI School and tag our panelists, tag myself. And lastly, please have fun and stay with us until the end for a chance to win one Xbox game access, okay? And connect with Seuss to claim it. I know it's game access, not the console. Just to make sure that's clear. Maybe next time it's the console. And once again, thank you for having us. Thank you for being with us today. Now, before I call on our panelists, I know you are as excited as I am. I'd like to get to know the audience first. Please drop on the chat box if you are a founder, aspiring AI founder, or if you're a student or a developer. We'd like to hear from you guys. Okay, all right. I don't know, Seuss, if they have responded, but I will not keep you waiting. Let's call on our panelists, starting with maybe Karen, Shoba, and Steph. Let's call you on the stage, on the virtual stage. Hello, beautiful ladies.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everybody. Okay, we have Salim there saying he's a founder. Thank you for supporting us today. Okay. Hi, ladies. How are you feeling today? I hope you're excited and as energized as me in kicking off this session.
Yes,
Indeed.
very excited to be here, although I don't think we can beat you on the energy front.
We're going to try, though.
Okay. So to kick things off, all right, I'm just fixing the slide. 1 second. Getting to know you, I prepared some questions here. Feel free which you want to answer, but I already nominated your names there. Let's start with Karen. Please share something about the history or the story behind your company name, and maybe tell us about yourself and what your company is all about.
Thank you, Julie. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today, wherever you are. My name is Karen. I'm the CEO of HumanManaged. Have to say that I am not the founder, but I have been an early joiner with the founding team. So what HumanManaged does is that we are a data platform for enterprise businesses to make smarter and faster decisions from their data. But before I do that, I want to tell the story behind the company name. A lot of people think that we're an HR company or something related to hiring humans, but actually we're not that. The HumanManaged story is about humans and machines coming together to empower human progress. So when we started back in 2019, we always knew that the problem that humans want to solve is doable by all the technologies around us. We felt that there were enough technologies and solutions for humans to make any progress, but where we haven't seen much progress is human decision making. It was always left to the few or people who knew someone, or and it was always like it didn't make the same progress as technological progress. So we felt that monotonous and repetitive tasks could be run by machines, but ultimately the decisions have to be made by humans. So the buck stops with humans, and that's why we called ourselves HumanManaged.
Interesting. Cool. Thank you for sharing that, Karen. Okay, up next, Shoba. What is your company's superpower? Tell us about your company and yourself.
Thank you, Julie. And that's a nice segue from what Karen said, because I'm co-founder of HardSkills, and this is my third startup with the same founding team. And HardSkills is a digital learning platform that helps enterprises ensure their employees develop the human skills that allow them to be superpowers in the age of AI, right? So we are training human skills such as how to communicate effectively, how to think critically so that they can make the decisions that Karen was talking about, how to collaborate, right? How to deal with failure that is inevitable, that happens every day. If you're, a developer or a founder trying to innovate, right? So that's what HardSkills does. We're an immersive learning platform, and our superpower, really. I mean, as you all, I think, will agree, it's really hard to change human behavior, right? We've all got habits that we say, we want to change, but it's really difficult to do. And it's even harder in the context of work, right? When you're under a lot of pressure to get things out. So our superpower at HardSkills is we have cracked the code on how to develop soft skills in a way that it sticks, right? And it gets the long-term memory of employees, and people then begin to change their behavior and to drive outcomes that allow businesses to stay relevant and reinvent themselves as the world changes. So that's what we do.
Amazing. I don't think there's one solution that can train behavior easily, unless we're training an animals, like punishing them, right? Or rewarding them.
That's why we're called HardSkills.
Exactly. I love it. Moving on to Steph, what is a day in the life of a leader in an AI startup? And tell us about your company as well.
Well, let me start.
The history of your company name as well, if you want to answer that.
I run a company called Thinking Machines. So we're an AI consulting team. And at any given time, we're helping maybe 10 plus startups, banks, governments, all try to figure out how to stay at the top of the AI wave and the AI curve. So I've been running this business for almost 10 years now. I started out as a data scientist, came into this field because there has been over the last 10 years, I feel like every year I look around and it's like, wow, major changes, major innovations in data, AI, generative AI now. And so the question our clients are always asking us, the question we're always asking ourselves is, what are the latest tools? Are they the greatest tools? And how do you productively use it inside an organization? So, speaking to like Karen and Shoba, what they've just said, you can't just put technology in front of people, and you can't just put technology in front of yourself. You have to figure out what is going to stick, what will cause you to change your behavior, what will create a better experience for customers. So if I think about the way I spend my time, right? Thinking Machines, we're always training people in these skills and trying to figure out what is worth training in and how to figure out transitioning those skills into actual products and services for our end customers. So I'm roughly always spending a third of my own time studying, first and foremost. There's so many new things every single day. I'm constantly reading papers. I'm sick and tired of studying. I thought I was done with school, but the big secret is if you're working in technology, you're actually never done. You're never done with school. So a third of my time learning, a third of my time working directly with our customers, understanding their problems, right? Because you don't want to just have a pile of solutions. You really want to understand what's relevant. And the only way to understand what's relevant is to go deep in a domain and talking to the people who are directly in that domain, experiencing those problems every single day. And then the last third of my time I spend with my team. Often it's about helping them, coaching them to help them understand what might be going on in a client interaction, how to think about designing large language model architecture, model operations at scale, thinking about both hard skills and soft skills as they work to build AI solutions of many different sizes and scales.
I love it. I love it. I still keep on thinking machines related to robotics, right?
Well, every machine now is a thinking machine, right? Especially with generative AI, like now your phone can basically think for you in some cases.
Absolutely. All right. So moving on, thank you. Lovely to hear a little bit of history and a piece of your company stories. Now, let's move on to a little bit of tougher question. What is an AI startup for you? And what exactly is you're innovating and you're driving using AI for your product? Whoever's ready.
I can go.
Yep. Go ahead, Shoba.
The way we think about it at HardSkills is, an AI startup is one that has unique data and insights to create a powerful solution that can deliver outcomes that were never possible before, right? I mean, there are obviously many definitions, but that's what resonates and that's what drives us. And so how are we using AI at HardSkills? Well, if you think about the soft skills, the difficulty of changing human behavior, right? Soft skills are multidimensional, they're very context dependent, and AI's ability to generate and analyze complex scenarios, interpret a wide range of inputs, allow for personalized learning at scale in a way that was never possible. But you have to have the raw, you have to have access to the insights and the expertise and the data to be able to do something with it. So the innovation we have been driving with some terrific support, navigational support from Microsoft, is to leverage our data sets to create what is now the world's most robust soft skills LLM. And this is powering our new products. And adding that capability to our leadership in sort of cinematic learning experiences, we're supercharging our ability to drive even more intense and lasting outcomes of learning that sticks.
I love it. Thanks for sharing that. Who wants to go next? Karen?
I can go. Yeah. So when I think about what a startup is, a startup a startup tries to change the status quo, first and foremost. It tries to improve what exists in the market today by either choosing to solve one big complex problem or many, many small problems. Either you do that cheaper or faster or just make the experience better. So I think, every one of us here can probably resonate and probably do a lot of all of those, but try to focus on what is the complex or the many simple problems that you're trying to solve. And putting an AI with that startup, it just means that you're utilizing AI or leveraging AI to do that, to solve the problem that you choose to solve. And the innovation that we're trying to drive at HumanManaged is we're actually in the field of solving many small, nagging, repetitive problems of working and operating and making decisions with data. So if you're looking at, if you're imagining on a day-to-day how many decisions you have to make, right? Or to complete one single core transaction of your business, how many small decisions do you have to make? And if you were to sit down and actually explain the sequence of events or a sequence of decision making, you could probably explain it. But when you're looking at that at scale, then it becomes complex. So how HumanManaged is using AI for that is that we're trying to apply the right AI for the right job in the end-to-end pipeline. So you can kind of think of us as a data pipeline integrator, whereby we're taking data as input and processing it as part of the platform and applying AI where needed, and then generating what we call the HumanManaged idea. So that stands for intelligence, I, decision, DE, and action, A. So that's the challenge that we're trying to solve. And it's super exciting that, we never started the journey thinking, oh, we're going to be an AI startup. We just knew that somehow we needed to work with data. And as Shoba said, right domain knowledge, right context. And then the AI wave just helped us accelerate our mission.
Yep. I'll minimize my comments so we can go through all our content really fast. Over to you, Steph.
Yeah. So the way I think about what's an AI startup is I would bucket most startups into 3 categories. One is AI enabled. So every single company at this point, I truly believe every company ought to be an AI enabled company. If you're not using AI, it's as if you're not using Excel, right? Can you imagine running any kind of analytical or like accounting function without it? Every organization should be AI enabled. You're using AI in your operations, you're using it to make yourself a little bit more efficient in every place in your company. Great, you're using it as a day-to-day tool. The second kind of company is where AI is part of their deep tech and they're solving a developer audience. So the second type of AI startup is a company that's trying to build new AI functionality, or their deep insight is in fine-tuning a model, in delivering model operations. And typically these are startups who are serving other startups through developer tools. If you're building like a 20 billion parameter model, you're probably this type of AI company. The third type is the type I find is most interesting, where AI is part of their core insight of how to make things better for their customers. So the third type of company, I would say, if the use of AI, if you are trying to solve a problem for a non-developer audience, whether it's like a learning and development problem, whether it's like an accounting problem, whether it's a carbon credit measurement problem, you are trying to solve a problem and you are using AI in a unique and novel way. You're using your own data, you're using some AI to do something better, deliver a better service, deliver a novel service, deliver something faster and cheaper than ever before. And AI is part of your core insight. So you might not be building your own unique AI technology. You might not be building your own like open source large language model. But if AI is part of your core insight and how you're breaking into this industry and how you're changing things, then I think that's the third category of AI startups. So category one is everybody is like AI enabled. Category two is like you're building AI as a deep tech AI startup serving other developers. And AI three is, I'm not sure what to call it, like an AI powered startup where AI is part of the core insight.
Industry specialized startup, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
AI. Where do you fall into that three categories that you just shared, Steph? Where is your company categorized? Where do you fall?
I think we're in the, oh man, that's funny. I should have expected to have that question and backing me up.
On the spot.
Julie, I told you to go easy on us.
Well, we're for sure using AI in every part of our business, even in our hiring, and we have been for the last year and a half. Funnily enough, our lawyer is one of the most like keen adopters of GenAI in our company. I would consider us to be a company where AI is part of our core insight, and we know we can serve our users better by using AI. It's like we're like a meta AI startup because we're here to help other companies use AI to improve their businesses, and we're using AI to actually do that ourselves in a way that's like much better, much faster, much cheaper than you would otherwise. And we're helping some of our customers with deep AI problems of their own. So we're helping a couple of customers self-host AI models, build really complex computer vision models. So AI is not just generative AI. AI is like vision models. AI is like language processing models. AI is predictive models on historical data points. And so we help our client companies implement like deeper AI solutions for themselves.
Love it. Thank you so much, Steph. Moving on to our next question. That's really, I think you've shared a lot of golden nuggets in there, and I hope this is very impactful and useful to our audience. Next, going back to the glamour and glitz aspect, Steph, you're the first one to answer. What's the greatest achievement to date?
Yeah, well, honestly, like the greatest achievement I think my team and I have had nothing to do with AI. It was a pure data problem. So in early COVID, we were asked, so in early COVID, and now it feels like so long ago, it's like 4 years ago, it's like very traumatic, a bunch of years in everybody's lives. We were asked by the Philippine Department of Health to basically in under a week, take their Excel-based systems for tracking how many tests, like COVID tests, were being taken in the Philippines and turn that into a digital solution and find a way to help them scale. Their backend processes were completely not like able to scale because it was people sending Excel files around, checking for corrections, checking to see testing status. And they said, could you help us automate this in under 1 week? And we did it, and we migrated them to the cloud. And the thing I'm most happy about is not our technical excellence there, but in our ability to help an organization change their behaviors. So I think that was the most important point. Like, not only did we help them step by step figure out how to migrate to a cloud-based, data-driven, automated solution, we help them make this change permanent in their culture. So when you're trying to get somebody to change their behavior, it's not just about throwing the latest and greatest technology at them. it really is about starting from where they are willing to change in the way they use their data, helping them do that, and then sitting with them and helping them to the point that they're now starting to use a lot of like AI in their day-to-day to help them do predictive work. I'm very, very proud of that because that was the hardest thing we've ever had to do. High stakes, lots of complexity, very difficult environment to be in. And being able to pull that off, I think built my team's confidence that if we can pull off something like this, we can help organizations become AI-driven, not just data-driven, but like AI-driven organizations.
That deserves a clap. I think it's government, right? And Philippines. So
Hard.
amazing. Okay, next question. What is the best part of being a founder, Shoba? I know this is your third company. Are you addicted to it? What's the best part? Maybe you can inspire our audience.
Well, I think that the best part about being a founder is really you are in control to some extent of your destiny, right? And you really have to be loving what you do. And we all know we're coming to the grind section, right? So I think the best part about being a founder is having a purpose and a high impact job that you love, right? And this is really not something that comes to everyone. You can have a job that you're very good at and that's very fulfilling, but you may not be very happy. But it's very hard to be a founder and not love what you're doing, right? So I think that's really, for me, the best part about being a founder.
Yeah, I heard that it takes a very special creature to choose entrepreneurship. People who love torturing themselves.
Well, I don't know that you choose it or it chooses you. I certainly didn't grow up thinking I want to be an entrepreneur, right? And I don't think you're necessarily, well, I know you're not born, and you don't have to be born an entrepreneur. But I think it is, in many ways, it is very addictive, right? Because you're doing something that's meaningful, something that's exciting, that's changing, and so
World
yeah.
It's amazing. Thank you.
I'm gonna lie on a beach after this, though.
All right, last question for Karen. What do you consider is the most glamorous part of running a business? Is there any? I've been hearing like,
could you define what you mean by glamorous? Oh no, I'm kidding. No, I think there's a lot of synergies between Steph's answer and Shoba's answer. I think some of the best part about being in a startup or running a business is just being on the edge of innovations and change, and just being at the forefront of how humanity is progressing. So I think despite all the challenges that come with it, it's so worthwhile because you're always, you're going after the vision, you're going after the greater purpose with people who are, who are really on top of their game, or people who really inspire me, or sometimes really scare me with their brilliance. So yeah, I think that's really all part of the parcel.
It's the adventure, right? It's like a roller coaster, exactly. Ups and downs.
Yeah.
I love it. We come to the end of the glitz and glamour session. To our lovely audience, please drop your comments. Do you find this interesting? Can you relate as a founder? Are you inspired or more scared to be a founder if you're aspiring to be one? I hope you're as excited as me. We're now moving on to the grind aspect of startup. And if you're ready, I'm going to show you top reasons of why startups fail. Not specific to a startup AI, but AI startup, but startup in general. There are many of these reasons, and I'm not sure if you can relate to them. I don't know if you guys have been into a startup that failed, but the reason I'm showing this to you guys is based on what I've gathered. There are 3 things that founders should be really great at. Number 1, you have to be very good at decision making. Every single day you're faced to make a decision. That's why, Elon Musk or whoever, Mark Zuckerberg, removed the decision making of choosing an outfit or an attire to free up their brains, right? Second, you're not only building your product, but also you're building and scaling a team. And they are very important for your company to be successful. You are mitigating the risk if you have the team rallying behind you. And lastly, selling not only your product, but of course, your vision, your mission to your employees, inspiring them to believe in your vision and supporting you. And of course, to your future investors. I'd like to hear your take. Do you agree on these three top things that founders should be great at? Do you have insights? Do you want to add on? Do you want to take out something? Please, would love to hear your thoughts. Whoever's ready.
I'm going to start with one idea, which is that startups, when you're in the 0 to 1 phase, I heard this once and I never forgot it. You aren't killed by your competition or by the market. Startups at 0 to 1 most often commit suicide. It is most often a critical fail. So you don't actually have to make every decision correct. In many different ways, like I have made so many mistakes. I made so many mistakes. I'm still constantly making mistakes. But you have to figure out where it's okay to make a mistake and where you will actually critically die if you get something wrong. And typically, you critically die if you get something wrong about the problem you're trying to solve and the customer you're trying to help, or your co-founders. Those are the kinds of mistakes where you have to be much more careful, but don't hold yourself to a standard where you have to be perfect across every single domain. Because certainly, God knows, everybody who makes it to the next round of the game has made their fair share of mistakes.
Yeah, agree with that, Steph. I always refer this to, is this a fixed decision that I have to make, or is it a fluid? Fixed is something that is going to be very costly and very painful if you get wrong. Fluid is just probably those everyday things that you could always make mistakes and iterate. So it's kind of related to the first point, decision making, but a bit more granular there.
There's the concept of the one-way door and the two-way door. So if there are any startup founders listening, I would really encourage you to Google that. I found it to be a super powerful, I don't know, is that a Jeff Bezos idea or somewhere else? So. The concept of the kind of decisions you make, if the decision is something you can turn back from, it's a two-way door, just make it really fast. If it's a one-way door, if you make the decision and there's no turning back, then those are decisions you slow down on. It's super powerful concept.
Wow, it's like the blue pill and the red pill concept, right? Or we should move on to the next topic.
Yeah, the only thing that I would add is I think it's really important for founders to be good at bouncing back, right? And as it relates to decision making, and we've heard, right, you're not going to get all your decisions right, so you can't be devastated. And as Steph said, you can't aim. You aim for perfection, but you got to deal with the fact that you're human. And so I think for decision making, thinking fast and slow, being able to differentiate what is a fast decision, what needs delving into, and then knowing that you can bounce back, and that is something that is iterative and it gets better and better each time, would be something else I'd add to the
puzzle. The mental toughness, right, should be there. And I'd like to shout out to Joe for sharing autonomy. Founders should be good at being autonomous, right? Good insight. Thank you for participating. Thanks. Let's move on to the next topic. I know we only have like 25 minutes left and we have a lot more to cover. Quick question, guys. Just shout the number, right? How do you rate yourself as a decision maker? Five star being the highest. Shout it. Come on. Steph?
5.
There's no right answer. 3.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, it depends on the day and depends on the topic, right?
Yeah.
So I think,
Yeah, thank you, Shoba, for sharing. The reason I asked that is there's this saying from my favorite uncle: good decisions come from experience, and experience comes from making bad decisions. So if you rate yourself high, I was wondering whether you made tons of bad decisions that made you a very, very good decision maker. Please share your thoughts. Do you agree with Uncle Mark Twain? What's your insight? And if you assess yourself, how do you go about it?
Julie, one thing to remember is all decisions are good decisions at the time that they're being made, right? And so, and I love that quote, but I would also say that sometimes what is good can turn bad, which is where the fluidity and the agility and the open mind, being able to pick up signals is so important. And understanding that things are changing all the time, and it's only going to get, it is already getting faster and more complex. Right?
Love it. Yeah, I think Salim just agreed with you that change, founders should be good at accepting change.
Yes.
My best decision every day
Adapting to
is.
changing conditions.
Sorry, one at a time. Karen?
Yeah, just agreed. And it's about adapting to changing conditions and learning from that bad decision and bouncing back with improvements.
Shoba?
I would also add.
Go ahead.
Steph, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Oh, you can learn from other people's bad decisions too. You don't always have to learn from your own.
I love that. Yes, learn from others' mistake, because there's just too many mistakes to make, right? Okay, moving on. All right, we'll skip that. For our audience, please tell us if you agree or not agree with Uncle Mark Twain. Now, let's move on to it's still part of the decision making. I'd like to understand, what is your thought process or your decision tree in making the best decision for your AI innovation, for your product roadmap? Right, your AI startup, how are you thinking about what do you integrate the latest and the greatest? What's your thought process around this? And the second part of this question is, what advice can you give to the companies out there thinking about implementing AI innovation? So whichever question you want to answer, go for it.
Yeah, I could start, and maybe Steph or Shoba can yeah, let's have a conversation around this. But for us at HumanManaged, we don't really have a formula for deciding on AI. We don't really start with that at all. We're obsessed with this concept called job to be done. And when you define the job to execute, and underneath that, what kind of activities need to be done, and even going beyond that, what are the specific tasks that need to be done to get the job done? So unless we're very clear on whether this function or this pipeline or this process, what is that job? And do we actually know the end to end? And then once we have that figured out, then we can get very specific. Is it to build a custom context? Is it to compute or calculate something? Or is it to improve a communication, or for humans to better understand a narrative? So these are all different applications of AI. And then once we're very clear on what that job is, then it makes the decision making on AI much easier. So and another consideration to have is, now that you know what kind of AI could be more useful, whether it's a model, or whether it's an algorithm, or even like a very simple logic, right? It doesn't need to be something so fancy or the latest or the greatest. After you have decided that, then what is the level of involvement of that AI? Does it need to be something accurate? Do you need precision? Does it need to be autonomous, or can it actually work hand in hand with humans? Like, you can actually break down I would say the attributes of AI much clearer once you know what the job is. So at HM, we try and always go back to align on what the job is, and then we work from there. I'd love to hear how Steph or Shoba approaches this.
Totally agree with Karen. You really start first by figuring out what's the job to be done, and then figure out where you should have AI and humans working together on that. And then the next layer, right? So coming to building the technology versus buying the technology, then you have to make a decision about, where do you invest your R&D? Where do you do unique R&D? Where do you build maybe on top of somebody else's solution? Or where do you just try to buy a SaaS product? And that is actually really tricky, because if anybody has an engineering team, a very common engineering teams it's always more fun to build. It's always more fun to do R&D on your own. But as the business owners, or maybe startup founders, the framework has to be, where is my energy best spent? Where are my very limited resources best spent? And in that build versus buy versus R&D framework, the way I like to think about it is, that particular job, how core is it to your value proposition?
Yes.
And you typically only have like a very narrow set of value propositions as a startup.
Yeah.
If it's not core, buy it. If it's not core, buy it, or partner to outsource it. Like, get somebody else to do it. Do not put your own brain on it. That is going to be a waste of your very, very limited time and energy as you go through the startup grind. Only if it's core do you then consider, then you're just looking at the subset of things that are core. When you're looking at the subset of things that are core, you then want to consider where might you have a unique advantage in a year's time if you continue to develop this. Because look, like every time Claude comes out, the new Claude model comes out, a new OpenAI GPT model is going to come out. Are you really going to build a better model than what they're probably going to come out with 6 to 12 months from now? If the answer is no, if the answer is yes, you should do it. But if the answer is no, what can you gamble on your own roadmap where you could plug in GPT-5 instead of GPT-4, like where you can run with GPT-4, have that as a component of the system that you build this part, and then you just get ready for the moment that GPT-5 comes in, plug that in. Or if Claude comes in and something even better, plug that in. Or Cohere has Command R, plug that in. So you think about how to position yourself relative to what everybody else is doing in the market, because your innovation, your unique insight for your startup is probably somewhere a little bit different. And then figuring out where you actually invest that build and R&D point from that perspective, I think helps me manage my team and all their asks for, please, can we build our own model? Please, can we buy 5 GPUs and stick them in the office?
Yeah, I think engineers are always going to figure out a way to build it themselves, right? But we cannot afford to be stuck in R&D mode forever. Like our job is to make sure that we get into operationalization as soon as possible.
It's super fun to do R&D. I think for cultural.
Yeah.
Yeah, for cultural perspective, like we have a GPU at work. I'm like hacking sometimes with them on the weekends, but there's a clear distinction between like hacking to learn and doing R&D towards our company's roadmap.
Yeah, but I think having said that, being in a position to do it yourself when the timing is right is also really important. So that kind of pivots into, is your architecture or your organization structured in a way that when you do decide to build yourself from all the learnings that you've had from other partners or whatnot, are you actually in a position to pivot? Because I think especially for startups, when speed is of such essence to your success, maybe it works, maybe the certain arrangement works today, but it may not be, 6 months down the line. So allowing for that agility is also really important.
Yeah, I think, the way we approached it at HardSkills was really to start with the customer, right? And a lot of our clients, the vast majority of clients are large employers. They have more than 50,000 employees. And even the average client that we are servicing has 10,000 employees. So these are large numbers, right? And so we really went straight to the core to say, what is a problem that we can bring our expertise to solve fast, to make a huge impact for these large organizations? So the decision framework was asking ourselves again, who's the customer we're serving? What is the problem that really they can solve now? And what are we, the best possible people to solve it, right? What is the aspect that makes us the best possible people? So that's what our focus has been. And I think, it's a long game, right? We're at the very first innings. It's an expensive game still. It's going to get cheaper, but it's an expensive game. It's going to get more competitive. So I would combine the two questions you asked, Julie, here. And I would say that you got to talk to your customers. You got to really understand what you're best at and have a laser focus on that. It's got to be speedy. And if you take a speedy approach, right, an agile mindset, then a lot of what Steph and Karen have talked about, the buy versus build, etc., getting to market fast is really important, right? So I think don't try to boil the ocean, right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I would add, just really embrace the distributed nature of supply chain today, right? Like even just the three of us, we are playing the AI game, but in a very different way. And there's a lot of synergies too. So I think figuring out where in the ecosystem do you play And are you actually partnering with the right partners and the suppliers and skills? That's also another thing. So your job is not to invent new things or do everything yourself. I think the really exciting thing that's happening now especially with AI is that every single startup actually has their own layers and stack that they're playing in. And part of the job as founders and CEO is like figure out who do we actually work with? How do we integrate this to our solution?
Yes, I think that's a good cue for our next question, which I think you already answered most of it. Like, how do you stand out as an AI company amidst the noise and the AI hype, right? I think Karen, you and Shoba, you touched a little bit on this. Like, be very mindful and laser focused on what problem you're solving for your customer, and just really focus on that, and that will make you stand out. If you have anything else to add, please. I have 2 more questions left for you guys, and we have 10 minutes left. If you have thoughts, feedback on this.
Yeah, on this, right? I mean, as an extension of the earlier conversation, the point really is to choose a problem that's the right problem. If I take our industry, learning and development, right? Everyone the 101 application for AI is skills matching, right? Now, 1,000 people have been doing it for the last 10 years, and 10,000 are doing it now, and 100,000 are going to do it tomorrow. This is not a problem that we want to jump in and solve, because it's, it's probably going to be a big tech solution at the end of the day, right? So really ask yourself, what is the non-Me Too problem that you can solve that is going to just knock people off and where you have a moat?
Yeah. And I think the question there is, how do you control these customers that are just getting there because of the hype, right? How do you ground them? Steph, you have insights?
Oh, let them enjoy the hype. I think I think it's always fun. So I think the spirit of change comes from, there's a pragmatic piece of it, but there's also like much more open, playful, and experimental piece of it, and pulling those two things together. Because if you're too conservative, right, the most conservative thing you can do is not to do anything until it's completely de-risk, but it's also completely ridiculous to embrace, like try to jump on crypto and then like climate and then AI just because those things are very trendy. So I think the spirit that we try to bring to things is, I quite like the thinking around design thinking, agile development principles, thinking about things in terms of experiments and always giving yourself room to experiment. That's what I try to tell a lot of the people that we work with, that give yourself room to play, to create creative space for yourself to see what could work, and then give yourself a space to, after you're finished with like the play part of it, think about, will these lead to interesting business? Will this lead to something like fundamentally interesting and unique about your business? I don't know about you guys, but I've never succeeded in coming up with like a deep insight when I try to force myself to do so. It always comes from a place where I'm much more naturally interacting with customers, trying out things because I'm curious, and then like just like light bulb hits and I'm like, oh, that's interesting, and then I pursue that's interesting, and sometimes I hit a wall and say, oh, sorry, that didn't go anywhere, but sometimes it's then I hit something that's game changing.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
To resonate with the design thinking concept, it's our responsibility, I think, to diverge on topics with customers and actually let them come to the table and co-create these things. But it's also our job to converge, right? It's our responsibility to educate them, and exactly, yes, diverge and converge. And that's why customers look to us for solutions. They know that they want to do something differently and something needs to change, but they're also pressed with time and resource on how to do it. So how do you stand out in positioning the solution is absolutely bringing the focus back from their excitement, from their divergent thinking, and helping them to get into operationalizing it.
A lot of
I think the experience that I have here is that if you are an AI company in a space where there's a lot happening, there's a huge amount of value to your customers, for you to do all the experiments, and you go to them and say, these 10 things that are super hyped up on Twitter right now, I tried all 10. Here are the results. here's why I think it's relevant to you. Why don't we try these three? And usually people are like quite happy to hear that because again, like it's so impossible to stay on top of this field.
Yeah. So let's move on from that topic. Thank you. I think those are really great insights. We have 8 minutes left. I'd like to cover the topic around hiring and scaling. You know how tough it is to find AI talent. How do you retain and hire the best talents in AI, considering all the competition out there?
No one's jumping forward. We haven't found the magic bullet yet.
It's not easy. This is a really
easy,
challenging thing, which I think every one of us is experiencing. But I really believe in the power of upskilling. Believing in giving enough challenges for our team to solve, and making sure that they don't do the same things all the time. So that provides them with the incentive to improve and even automate what they're doing and move on to the next problem. Like, we're a very lean team of just over 30, and mainly composed of engineers, analysts, as well as customer-facing roles. And actually, a lot of the people that have joined HumanManaged, they're not actually doing the things that they were doing before HM or what their degree was on. And actually, no one has a degree or experience in LLM. Like, it's a very new concept, right? Like, it's
nobody has,
yeah. So I think that's something really positive. Like, that's really sparked, in a few people who really do want to pivot or they want to do more with their skill set. To kind of come in with very fresh pair of eyes and looking at problem solving, understanding the context in which they're playing. So just empowering the people that you have and showing them how the specific problems they can solve. I think that's also a responsibility of the leadership.
I like that. Go ahead, Shoba.
No, I was going to say, just that whole point that we're all fighting for a pool of this perfect AI-enabled talent, right? So people do need to shift their thinking to, how do I enable the talent that I have? And when I'm looking for people, you really need to find people with an open learning mindset, right? Steph alluded to it earlier that if you're in tech, it sounds so obvious, but I do think that a lot of people in tech have historically come with a box mindset, right? I'm an expert in this. I only want to do this. Don't ask me to do something else. I mean, we train a lot of engineers for our clients. It's the single largest demographic. And one of the things we train them on is the ability to influence others and to sell ideas and to sell change. And they go, oh, we don't need to do that. But I mean, they do, right? They have to really perfect their pitch to convince and take people, so you really want to look for that open mindset.
Quick one, Steph, 1 minute. I know you have 200 people. How do you retain? You have one there, and so that we have the last question, burning question. Go.
Well, okay, so with the talent I have at Thinking Machines, or actually this is like a general rule I have with talent, some people are mercenaries. Some people will always go. You have to just understand the mindset of the people who come work to you and who you're attracting. Because some people are mercenaries. They will go where the cash compensation is highest. That's great. You attract these people by offering them more money. And you just know that if somebody else offers them more money, they're going to come to you and like be a professional about it. But they're going to say, I'm going to go there for like 50% more cash. And you're going to say, great, goodbye. But I've observed that if you have cash plus a great culture, people will sometimes quite consistently take a lower cash offer. Maybe not, you can't offer them like nothing, but maybe like 10 to 20% range less for a job with a better working environment and a better culture. And if you're able to find cash, a better working environment and culture, plus a mission that's aligned with that person's personal mission, because these are also people. The people who are hiring are people, human beings with goals, desires, values. If you get that mission fit with what your company is about, plus a culture fit, there's like a maybe 20% wiggle room on the compensation space. And I think you have to think about your compensation as like holistic as well. Like, what are you offering, not just in terms of hard cash, but what are you offering in terms of the learning opportunities? What are you offering in terms of how you're helping them move forward towards their own goals in life? And that's hard to do. Like, management is hard, leadership is hard. But if you can pull that off, it's not always about like cash in, cash out.
I love it. Thank you. So I'm rushing through this. Final word from you guys. If we were to quote you on LinkedIn or Twitter, what would you like our audience to remember? Give me a 5-word sentence or 10.
5 words.
I'm just
Okay,
kidding.
I can go first. I don't know if it's 5 words, but call HumanManaged after your AI launch party, because the only AI that matters is operational AI.
I love that. Shoba?
It's not about the technology, it's about the people.
Oh, I love it. Steph?
Humans, it's not just about machine learning, it's about human learning. Humans also learning.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. And to our audience, please give a virtual round of applause to our lovely, lovely founders. Not only beautiful, gorgeous, but brilliant in and out. And of course, very smart. Thank you so much for gracing us today. I'd like to open the floor for any questions from our lovely, lovely audience. Thank you for sticking with us. The first person to put their question will win the Xbox game access. Do we have some questions there? Come on, keep them coming. Suzanne, do we have any question from the audience, or they're gone? I hope they stick with us until the end, because it's a really, really amazing conversation. And thank you again, Karen, Shoba, and Steph. We learned so much. I learned so much.
Thank
We
you.
hope to do
Really
this again.
enjoyed it. And thank you, Julie.
Yeah, thanks, Julie.
You have a question there. What are your thoughts about, oh no, okay. When to use LLM and ML, from Salim?
I can't answer that.
Use large language models anywhere where you're generating text, emails, chat. Use machine learning when you're trying to predict. Tabular, anything tabular, use machine learning. That's super rough rule of thumb.
Yeah. ML in general is to compute when you need precise or accurate output. LLM is when you're trying to generate text or any kind of content or modality type of output. So you need to know exactly when to use what.
Perfect. I think we're right on time. Oh, we got a virtual clap there from Joe. Thank you. So did I win? Yes, Salim, you won. And once again, thank you so much. We will keep in touch, and we hope to do this again next time. Maybe another topic. Thank you. This has been your...
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. And thanks, lovely audience.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye. Thanks, Zane.
All right, so thank you so much to you that's watching this session today. If you found this helpful, please take this time to hit on the like and subscribe button or hit on the notify button. As a program manager and producer of this show, this would mean a lot to me and our speakers today. So kudos to our speakers and our moderator, Julie. Today, very candid, very real, very unfiltered insights. I truly enjoyed this session. Talk to your customer, being laser focused, go get to the market fast. Okay, these are just some of my takeaways. So many learning in such a short 55-minute session. So thank you so much for being here with us today. So if you enjoyed today's session, please join us for our next one. We'll talk about another important and super helpful topic, GitHub Copilot. It's going to be a game changer in the way you develop applications. So be sure to check that out. We do have another one by Marcus. Oh, it's not here, but you probably can see it on the website itself. So I'm just going to drop the link here right away. Hang on, sorry. There you go. You should add it to your favorites. Yeah. So for Marcus, right? Marcus joined us. He was a great hit in episode 2. He's returning back to talk about how you can integrate large language models with multimodal AI. Yeah. So switching gears a little. We're going to talk about this one, our mission at Microsoft is to empower every humans and organization to achieve more. So this includes startups as well. So we want to enable founders to be able to solve more problems and build a better future. So if you have plans to create a product centering around AI or accelerate your AI innovation, we have Microsoft for Startups Founders Hub, which is a dynamic platform and ecosystem supporting founders like yourself from the ideate stage to development, grow, and scale. So we're talking about free open AI credits, up to 150 Azure credits, and access to heaps of development tools, and access to our experts, etc. So lots of good stuff. So I encourage you to check that out. And finally, we also included a link to today's, it's a survey to today's session. So if you have time, do help us fill that out. So just so that we know, how we can do this better. This survey is important for us. So yeah, let us know and we'd love to hear from you. So thank you so much for your time today. Yeah. So once again, we'll see you next week. Thank you.